that one as well. Okay, let's begin then. As always, we want to think about our posture to start with. So we're bringing our feet into roughly hip width apart position. We're spreading out our toes and trying to make a nice connection through the toes and the balls of the feet and heels as well. So we're feeling nice and evenly weighted. We feel that nice grounded connection, but at the same time, we're also lifting and lengthening up through the crown of the head, so we're nice and tall, without tension though, hopefully. So just soften a little bit if you feel you've got a little bit tight there. Relax the knees. Bring the hands into the belly and just start to think about your breathing here. So we're just noticing our nice normal natural breath. We've got that rise and fall that happens, just all day, every day without us thinking about it. We're going to make it a little bit deeper. So now as we inhale, we're a bit more aware of filling up into the bottom of the ribs and the belly, breathing out, feeling that natural connection or bracing that happens as we do that. So from there, then we're inhaling as we bring the arms up overhead, breathing out as we circle back and round, reaching and then stretching around the back. So we're just starting with a nice little bit of loosening and stretching through those shoulders, always part of the body that tends to carry tightness. So let's just go one more time through this backward circle, and then we'll take it straight back the other way as well. So open wide there if you can, as long as it feels comfy. Try and turn up and out through there. So it's quite a good chest stretch at that point. And again, we're breathing with it. Inhale, exhale. So we'll just do another couple of those, just checking those knees still. Final time through those arms, and then bring them out into your rib holding position. So we're going to slide the hips side to side. So that's just really, it looks like side to side, but it's more downward really. We're trying to get the hips to slide down and away from the ribs to get this feeling of length. So we're just doing another couple of those, and then we're going to settle back in to the center, go the other way with the pelvis. So we're scooping and we are rolling. So we're just going to take a couple of those back and forward. Just angle that a bit better. And then it's about finding that position again. So it's tailbone down, hips level back where we started, but aware of it more now. So let's rise up onto the tiptoes, float up and away, float down, flex the feet so you're getting that activation the opposite way. So we're using our calf muscles and our little feet muscles to balance here and then control our descent. When we go the other way, the calf muscles there getting a stretch, using the muscles at the front of the leg. And of course, it's about moving the ankles as well here. Now, as we lift up this time, to make it a little bit more challenging, we're going to take an arm float, maybe all the way up. It will depend how wobbly that makes you feel, and just float down and flex. You can play around with the arm height, maybe just to shoulders, maybe, it always tips me over at that point. Maybe you'll get all the way overhead, again, as long as it doesn't tip you over. So it's just about playing with that arm position and finding where you're just about able to maintain your stability without too much bending or bowing. So we'll just take another couple of those, float it up, float it down into the flex, of course. Final time. It always makes me wobbly, this arm pattern. And then we're going to flex to finish. So planting the feet, we're then taking the arms up and having a little swing through there. So breathe in, breathe out, stretch high, swing low, reach and release. So we've just got that nice swing through, breathing in, breathing out. We'll just go one more time and then reach it back up and just let those arms relax as they come back down this time. So stepping wider then as we twist nice and easily, soft and fluid through the whole body. Try and let everything relax through this movement. We'll just do a couple more of those. Okay, we're going to come back to the middle and relax, give the shoulders a little roll, shake and loosen everything out, and then reset your standing posture position, feet hip width apart. We're going to bring our arms out in front of us, palms pointing up, thumbs pointing up, palms facing together. From here, we're thinking all down the back of the body, activation. So moving from my hips to start with here, sending the hips back. As the hips go, the knees will start to bend and we come into a little sit down. We're going to squeeze our bum muscles and our shoulders to draw our arms back. So then we're opening and squeezing through there. So I'm going sort of in the middle. You can do a smaller hip hinge. So if for any reason the knees or hips don't like to go too deep, that's fine. You can go deeper. So if you like to challenge into those legs a bit more, that's fine. But wherever you go, as you come up, you've got that focus of squeezing into your bum muscles. And of course, those nice wide arms, drawing the shoulders back, firing up, like I said before, basically everything down at the back line of the body. So we're just going to take a few more here. So we're coming into our last couple of reps now. They're looking very nice. Well done. Last couple then. When you have finished standing up nice and tall in that nice activated position, and then from there we can relax down, shake and loosen out the shoulders, and just give the legs a little shake as well. So we're ready to hit the mat and get into our floor work. So come on down, bring anything with you that you normally use. Of course, like head support, extra support that you might need. So yeah, just coming into a nice, comfortable, relaxed position. As we come down here then, we do want to make sure the head is comfortable. So like I say, whether that's on support or not, we're just there. We're relaxing the shoulders. We've got the knees bent, the feet on the floor, the hands onto the belly, as we just take a quick moment to reconnect the breath. So we're noticing nice, easy, natural, gentle breath. Then we make it deeper again. It's easier to do in this position because everything's relaxed now. It's a little bit trickier in standing. So as we inhale, we feel that rising or filling of the belly. As we exhale, again, we're coming into that slightly braced or abdominal activated position. From here, we're going to float up our first leg, so the knees above the hip. And we're going into a very strong foot position. So I want a flexed foot. So instead of pointing the toes, we're going to push through the heel. Push the leg away from you, dropping towards the floor. So you're hovering a couple of inches. Slide out into a diagonal hover and then draw back, still with foot flexed. At this point, we point the toes to come back and then we flex to do the push. Hold the flex as you do the diagonal squeeze and return, and then just relax the foot to come back in. That is, of course, your single leg option. You may be doing this double tabletop, of course. There's always, generally with single leg work, always that option of taking 2 feet off the floor. And of course, the only difference is you'll be alternating the legs if you go into the double tabletop position. So we're thinking, as we always are with leg work, stable pelvis, controlling the movement, so the body stays nice and still and controlled and the legs work very strongly. If you're doing single leg work, you're probably going up to around about 10 or 15 reps. See how the leg feels. It's much stronger, this one, than a lot of the other leg ones because of the flex foot position. So you see just how that first leg feels really. But as soon as you're done the first side, you can of course change straight over. And if you're doing your 2 leg work, your alternating 2 leg option, you don't necessarily have to be counting as such. You can, again, probably just go by feel, how the work feels. So feel your way into that one and see how fatigued everything feels. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to give you plenty of time to get through your options here. So if you're still going, that is fine. Okay, they're looking nice. So it does take a little bit of focus thinking about that flex foot position. You've got this forward stability and the forward strength, but then that diagonal push, making that extra bit of challenge and firing up. have finished, or when you do, of course you can come into your rest position, and that will be wherever you want it to be for a few moments. Very nice. They're looking good. Well done, everyone. I think we're mainly coming near to the end. So yeah, when you do come to rest, you've got all your normal options. Stretch out, curl up. Maybe if low back's a bit tight, it's normally nice to curl up a bit. Any particular stretches that you like to do, or just enjoying a moment of rest is always good as well. Okay. Super duper, we are done. Right, from here then, we're staying, I should say, back into our normal static position here. So we've got knees bent, feet on the floor, and we're going to be thinking about moving into the upper body. But as we move upper body, we always want to be thinking of rib cage connection here. There'll still be an element of strength through the lower abdominals and back though as well. So let's reconnect back into breath. So we're noticing, we're deepening that breathing. And then, like I say, we're working into some big stretchy arms. So you'll either be doing that with a single or a double static tabletop position. That's up to you. And then the arms come up. We're turning palms to face forward. And we're going to try and draw a similar sort of pattern to what we're doing with the leg. So we're pushing out into a lengthened position, like a normal toy soldier, particularly focusing on this arm going back. And then the arms slide away into that diagonal, just like we did with the leg. And then we come back to the center, up. Arms will cross over, other side, into the stretch, maximum reach, diagonal slide, back to center. And then we just keep going. So again, if you're doing single leg work, keeping a rough idea how many you've done, around about the 10 to 12 reps mark probably. Change sides. If you're doing double tabletop, then you're just staying there. Again, not necessarily counting, but we need to just watch out for these ribs. So I've just gone into double tabletop and you can see how it's popped my ribs up, and hopefully you can see that gap that's appearing under the ribs here. So I'm trying to avoid that happening, keeping the ribs connected but maintaining neutral spine. So I also don't want to do this and come in and really flatten the low back. So I'm in this nice neutral knee above hip position, maintaining pelvis. And then of course all the time I've still got the arms going into that nice big stretch away. So stretch away, create as much length and depth. So you're trying to go above the head long, but also deep past the ear, creating that feeling of length and depth into the diagonal, maintaining that, and then back to center, and just keep going. And you're probably getting near the end now. And when you have finished, you can of course have a little moment here to rest and relax. They're looking good, nice control. It's a fairly simple pattern, but it does still require quite a lot of focus and control, thinking about all the different elements, that one. So again, just rest and release, just while everyone's doing their last few, go wherever you want to go for a moment. Super duper. We are turning over onto our sides this time, so come on over with me. and we're going to come into a nice straight line. We're thinking about moving very, very big bicycles on this one. So as you come into your side lying position, if you need to tuck your, I'm just going to squirrel around actually, if you need to tuck your head in or have a bit of extra support, that's fine. The basic side lie is normally with a straight arm, but it's fine to modify if you need. We're going to lengthen out, so I'm looking down, I'm just checking to see that basic straight line position through the body. And with the bottom leg, as is often the case, you can either rest it or raise it, and that's totally up to you, what's comfy on the hip. So side bicycles, we're coming up as we did last week, but instead of pushing down now, we're going to hold that high knee into a big stretch. Sweep that leg away round behind, and you're trying to open the front of the body here, so go as far as you can. Heel then comes to bum, and then we come through to create that cycle action. So once you get going then, hopefully it is cycling, it's quite fluid, and we are making big opening leg action in both directions, forward and back. We're going probably up to about 10, maybe even 15, but obviously you've got to go back the other way as well, so bear that in mind when you decide how many to go for this direction. We're just trying to create some really nice feeling of big space, opening out through hip that I talked about, but also of course because your leg is relatively heavy, as it's moving around, you're having to stay controlled and still, so there's all this centre work happening to support you, which is often the case with side lying. When you do change direction, you're going to tuck in there, so that heel comes up first, and that goes, whoops, try not to topple over, but that knee goes back into opening, extending then away into the reverse position. So tuck, push the heel, and then sweep around to create that reverse bicycle. Whoops. Once you've done both directions, however many you're doing, we're going to come into nice big stretching, of course, which we always do for side work. So you'll just be having a moment to focus on the breathing, encourage the breath, encourage the body to really lengthen, and yeah, just rest when you've done that. You're all going to be finishing different times, so I'm going to give you a bit longer for those of you still going. Very, very nice. Well done, everyone. Good job. Well done. Just enjoy the rest for a moment. Super duper. Okay, so from our side lying position here, we're going to lift ourselves up. So we're coming up just into side hip sit, I'd call this, for want of a better name. If you need to modify this position, again, just because of pressure on the hip, you know, play around with it. Change the legs if you need to. You can even sit centrally, and if I see anyone needing to do that, I'll show you that option as well. So to begin with, I'm probably going to go about here, so I'm on a slight diagonal, not too tucked in, not too far away, but you can play with that as we go. So this arm is away. First of all, I want to think about taking these ribs up to the sky. So breathe out, and it's all about body movement here. So my hips aren't changing position. I'm really trying to get this side, I'm trying to get my spine moving basically for this to happen. There, really big stretch. You can go deeper with that. You have to put more work through the arm. So you bend the elbow and you come into there. You're still trying high ribs though. And if you want even more stretch than that, you could have the arm a bit further away. Although again, it's going to be a bit more challenging the further that hand gets. Another way to make it a bit deeper is to come into the side bend. Once you're here, I'm rotating into a forward twist, and that is super tough. So it depends sort of how tight you are, how strong you are. Everything is going to feel challenged on this one, because you want to get this spinal movement, and then you've got different ways of playing around with it depending on how much reach you want to have. And of course what the arm does will also play a part depending on your shoulder. So most of us are probably going to be in this middle section where I started, slightly diagonal arm, but you have got options to go further with that. And then like I say, you've got body movement without putting too much work on the arm, body and arm, and then body, arm and rotation. Really, really opens everything up. It depends how comfortable that feels. So if you're still going, probably last couple now this side, all of this should feel really, really long at the end of that. And then once you've done it, just come into the center. We're going to just briefly give the legs a shake out, give the shoulders a release. So you can feel this arm has worked now and this side is stretched. We'll even ourselves up when we turn around now. So come down to your other side, bicycles first, and then we'll be back up for that nice stretching. So lengthen away, straight line down the body. Rested bottom leg or raised bottom leg, up to you of course. Draw the knee up, try and get high, big stretch forward. Nice long sweep there, back, pull the heel to the bum, and then come through. Again, creating that cycle movement of roughly 10, 15, whoops, and try not to double. You do have to concentrate on this one. I always lose concentration because I'm watching the screen and talking to you, and that's always when I topple over. So remember to go back. You want that tuck knee position. Go as far as you can, then go further, and then tuck, sweep, stretch around. Of course, going the other way, and don't forget to stretch at the end. You're probably still on the first direction though, so take your time. Don't worry, I'm going to give you plenty of time on this one to match what we did on the other side, but they are looking really good. Well done. Haven't talked a lot about breathing with these ones because we're working in that circular movement, so nice and flowing, and generally with flowing type work like that, we're going to try and just flow the breath as well. So it is still Pilates breathing, you'll still feel that connection to the abdominals, but we're not necessarily setting it. And probably with a cycle movement like this, you'll find that you just naturally flow or get into a breath rhythm that just naturally works. Very nice, they are looking good. Lovely. Okay, how are we doing? I think we're nearly getting there. If you have finished, you're taking your stretch, arm overhead, lengthen the body, and that may be about 3 or 4 breaths. If you've done that, then you're just hopefully having a nice little rest for a moment. And I think we're now ready to come up. So we've got to stretch ourselves out on the other side so we don't end up walking around with one short side and one long side for the rest of the day. So we're going to lift up into that side hip position, say just roughly in the middle somewhere with that arm to start with. Think about moving your rib cage. You imagine you've got a piece of string here on this bottom rib, which is only just above your waist, and that is pulling up. So even without moving your arm, you should be able to find, hopefully, quite a bit of that mid-back movement. Then of course the arm adds into that, and then you've also got the bending of the other arm to enhance it more, and then you've got the reach and the twist in that position. So as always, up to you. Bit of mixing and matching, totally fine, wherever you want to be. Do you want breath with this one? So let's exhale as we go over, inhale as we come back. we did quite a few on the other side, so just going to do maybe last couple I think on this one, and then when you're done, of course, just release for a moment. Okay, so come back into the middle. You might just want to give the shoulders a little shake out there, maybe give the legs a little bit of a release out, and we're going to be heading back onto our backs again, coming into shoulder bridge. So if you normally have a bit of knee support for that, bring that with you as you set yourself back up on mat now. So when we come to shoulder bridge position, we don't necessarily need head support here because we're lifting up and we don't want to like force the chin into the chest. Sometimes just a little towel under the neck is all right for shoulder bridge, but not too much head propping. Instead, the support is probably between the knees, and the feet of course come in a bit closer too. Reconnecting to our breath, softening through those arms, and then starting to roll the pelvis as we inhale. From here though, your breath will follow its own pattern, so just go wherever you need to. Roll up to the top of the shoulder blades. No extra pressure on the head or the neck. It shouldn't be lifting that high that it feels like it's pushing you, like I say, through the neck or head at all. So you're getting your movement through your spine, which is all of course about rolling that spine up, rolling it back down, getting that nice sense of strong abdominal work, controlling the movement of your spine. And then most of you are going to be picking out of the normal options that you do with your shoulder bridge. So probably doing something with the arms, nice big stretch back, palms face up. Maybe you like to leave the arms behind you on the way down, or maybe they feel good circling, or maybe they come with you. If you're going into leg work, it's always slightly easier to do the leg work with your arms by your side, so bear that in mind if you have not done leg work before and you're maybe giving it a go. If you're doing a leg lift here, it's about holding that stability and going, keeping a very, very stable position, and the arms will help that. If you're progressing the legs, then of course arms overhead is much wobblier. So you might start with a single arm, single leg, opposite arm and leg, and then you might progress to having both arms overhead whilst you do the legs. So it's gradually getting more unstable as you go through those different versions. Ultimately though, however you make shoulder bridge harder, and that's what happens when you start to add the legs and the arms, it's always about it, it makes the muscles work harder because you're doing it for longer. We still always want to keep that focus into the rolling up and down phase is still super important. So it's not like you're just rolling up to get there to do the hard work and then coming back down as like an interruption. The up and down phase is a super important part of the work as well. Okay. Looking good. I think we're probably coming to our last couple of reps now. So maybe finishing off on your next one or the one after that. That's going to be a good amount of reps. Lovely. Okay, so from this position, we're going to open our arms out to the side now. So they've been resting either here or here. We're going to take them away to the side, but turn the palms to face down so they're slightly coming inwards. We're crossing one ankle over the opposite knee, and I'm actually flexing the foot there a little bit. So rather than that, the foot that's up in the air, rather than it just being relaxed, I'm actually pulling the foot in a bit to flex it, keep it a little bit stronger. To begin with, we're turning that foot towards the floor. So whichever foot you've got raised up, that's going to turn to the opposite side. And you can just go as far as you want to into that twist. Roll back to the centre, and then it's knee down to the same side. Now the nice thing about these twists is you can totally go as far or as little as you want to. So depending on how your back feels with twisting, we've done quite a lot of back moving so far with the shoulder bridge and the side bends, but not really any twisting yet. So see how it feels. You can just do a small amount of rocking here across the pelvis, or you can just let the legs naturally drop, or you can even push them, encourage them to go much, much further. And like I say, it's really about how much does the spine want to twist, how far will your muscles let you go, and you can just encourage that. We're just going to take a couple more on this side because of course we have got to even ourselves up and make sure we do the other side as well. Hopefully you'll notice for this one that you get more, you're getting similar work to like a normal hip roll, but there's a lot more stretching around the hip with this one too. So once that is done, and come in, shake and loosen that leg out if you need to, and then just swap over. So gentle foot flex just to help protect the knee on this side. And again, go to the foot side first, just ease into that, see how it feels. Then over to the knee side. And then again, you might be sticking with more of a rocking action, or you might be trying to encourage more. As you encourage more, you're actually using the bottom leg, pressing on that foot, so it pulls you over. And the same the other side, the weight of the foot pulls on that knee to pull you over more. And like I say, you can really be with that wherever you want it to be. So we're going to take our last couple on this side now, and that should be about even to both sides now. Lovely. Okay, super duper. From there, we're going to draw the knees in. So if you haven't already, just bring those knees in, give them a bit of support, and take a nice little roll through the back. So you're just rolling. And let's go the other way as well. Just keep awareness with that breath, nice and gently. Okay, so we're going to pop the feet down. Let's extend them out, point the toes, and take a really nice big long full body stretch here. So reach away, breathe a bit more deeply. That will just help encourage the lengthening. Flexing the feet to do the same thing. Push down through the heels and breathe. Release everything through there. So we're going to transition over onto our dummies now. So have a little roll over for me. Swizzle yourself around if you need to, but just come into your best position for front lying. We're going to start by setting the arms out to the side of us. So I've got chin slightly tucked in here. I'm looking down and I'm making a square shape. So if you look at your elbows, you want that 90-degree angle. So you're making a square shape across. That will mean for most of us that our hands are slightly in front of us. So you'd be looking, they're a bit above the head. We've got quite a few options here. If you do need forehead support, then as is often the case in frontline, it does work here. You can support, and that's useful for niggly necks or backs. Otherwise, you're just holding your chest and head slightly off the mat. Now we're picking up, first of all. As I pick up the arm, I'm trying to draw the shoulder blade toward the spine or towards the centre line of the body. So the arm is lifting, but not the body, so I'm not twisting up there. And then release, do the other arm, and that's your singles. Doubles, of course, squeeze to centre, release, and then both of those positions have got an optional additional movement. So back to the single, I'm going to do an arm hover, high as I can. Holding position, I then stretch away overhead. Much more challenging. Pull to square, release. Other arm, lift. Try and do a little stretch forward. It might not go too far, see what happens. Pull to square and release. And of course you can do that doubles. Little slide forward, pull to square, release. So your body isn't really moving in any of this. It's all about those upper back and shoulder muscles, getting the arms up off the floor, and that's whether you're doing single or double. And then you've also got the additional option, so you can choose with that, of whether you're then going a bit more, can you push that arm out a little bit further forward? Very challenging into the strength around that upper back and shoulder area. But of course, we always have to do some form of shoulder posture strengthening, as well as releasing the shoulders. It's both things are important. Build the strength, but keep them nice and mobile as well. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit longer because I can still see some of you are happy working. If you do get done, of course, and it is going to vary quite a lot with this one, just rest down, have that nice little moment of releasing. As always, when we're here, you probably want to move the arms and get into a bit more comfy position for your rest, but it's just a nice chance to let go of any tension in the shoulders and spend a moment with your breath. And if you are still working, I'm going to give you maybe another half a minute or so you've got a few more reps left. But yeah, come and rest whenever you need to. I think we're pretty much done. So if you haven't already, then those hands are going to come underneath the forehead now. So your shoulders will be quite soft and relaxed, hopefully, at this point, and your head is nicely supported on the back of those hands. So we're going to be finishing off now, pretty much where we started, which was focusing on bum muscle activation. We did that right at the beginning with our squats, and we're going to work them again now. So lengthen the legs so that they're stretching away from you. Think about breath. If we can maybe try a little bit of a rib cage expansion. So we inhale, feel the ribs widen, exhale. Feel that connection to abdominals as you encourage the breath. Then we start with a single leg raise. So I'm lengthening. Imagine somebody pulling your foot away from you. The whole leg stretches. The front of the hip pushes down, so you only lift up to the top of the thigh, and hopefully your bum muscle is working to do that. Release the leg down, do the other leg, lengthen and lift. So that is our single leg swimming, alternating legs. If you want to make that a bit more challenging, both legs work at the same time, but not lifting together and lowering together. One leg goes up, then as that one's on its way down, the other one goes up. So you're doing like a walking leg action. We can also throw in here to this slow work a few fast flutters. When you fast flutter your legs, the idea is not to wiggle your ankles, flick your knees, shift your shoulders, wiggle your hips, or basically move anything else other than strong legs, strong bum muscles, and you're fluttering your legs. But like I say, even though you're fluttering, it's very strong and you're not wiggling anywhere else. So do a few flutters. Your bum muscles will not totally fatigue or burn out, but they'll definitely lose some power. So then you go back into the slow, either single or double slow raises that you were doing, and then you might feel that the muscles have recovered a bit, go back into the fast flutters, and just do that sequence maybe 2 or 3 times through, contrasting the slow and the fast work. The fast work is optional, so if you find that when you go into the fast, it's sort of pulling you around too much, or the back isn't happy or anything like that, I would stay with that more slow and controlled activating work. But yeah, if you can do the flutters, give them a go. Some nice swimming legs there, looking good. If you're still going then, finishing off whichever bit that you're on at the moment. So if you've just gone into slow or you've just started flutters, you've got time just to finish whichever bit you're on. When that happens, once you have done it, when you release the legs down from here, do it with flexed feet, so you're resting on your toes. And then really try and soften now. So all those muscles that have just been working, we're going to soften them as we roll through the hips here. So nice little easy rock. And into the legs. Okay, we are coming up. So bring the hands in, lift yourself up. Let's roll it through. So I'm pulling tailbone to nose, nose to tailbone, into the cat position, up to you if you hold it or move in and out. But we want to go through that probably a couple of times, up and down. Once you've got up and down, sideways hips, which you can do by just sliding the hips, or for a bit more length, look over the shoulder to the other side. That side has had a good stretch already, so might feel a bit looser than normal. We're going to put it all together, moving nice and freely. And then we're going to stretch those shoulders out. So push the arms forward, soften your elbows, bum high or bum low. That's up to you, but stay wherever you go for a couple or 3 nice big deep breaths. Once we've done our breaths there, hands come by knees, and we support ourselves to come up. We're coming into our final sitting position now, so just bring yourself round and get comfortable in sitting for our last little bit of stretching. Okay, hands together then, pushing forward, looking down, open out those shoulders. Again, keep that focus to the breath. And release it the other way. Hands resting, chest opening. Very nice. And then last little bit of side bending. And definitely feel the difference as we've already done some big side bends. Feels a lot easier today. Okay. That's going to bring us back to the centre. Giving a last little wriggle of the shoulders to loosen off, and we are done. Yay. Great job, everyone. Wonderful work.